What's up, everyone? Connor here. Thought I'd come on and share my review for Homer's The Odyssey. This was my third book of the year, and if you're following my previous videos, you'll know that I'm hoping to read at least one book every single month of the year, minimum 12 books. This was number three, so I thought I'd give a quick review. So I'm sure most of you already know the general story of the Odyssey about Odysseus after the events of the Trojan War, trying to make his way home, battling monsters, defying gods, and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely classic tale, pun intended. Yeah, it was bloody brilliant. I mean, easily one of the greatest and most well-written books probably out there, in my opinion. The structure was kind of weird, to be honest. I I knew that obviously beforehand reading the book, that obviously the story opens with Telemachus trying to find information about his father, but when you read it, it's kind of weird, but in a good way. I like it because it's different, it's not just following a standard chronological order of events. We start with Telemachus going to, was it to see Nestor and then Menelaus to find out information on Odysseus. And then we jump to Odysseus leaving Calypso's island, find his way to the Phoenicians, I think it was. Then obviously before he leaves there, that's when he then regales us with his tales, facing the Cyclops, having to trick the Cyclops, being stupid enough to tell the Cyclops his name. And then obviously, going to Circe's palace. And before that, obviously, coming across the Lacedaemonians, losing almost all of his ships bar his own personal ship to them. Obviously, going to Circe's palace, his men getting turned into pigs. Obviously, Eurylochus trying to just dip and leave. Odysseus like, nah, we gotta stay, we gotta free these men. And then obviously, Hermes, absolutely love Hermes. Goat. Obviously, gives Odysseus the flower, tells him, this is what he has to do. Do Loki feel sorry for Odysseus, man? The man did not have an easy 20 years, Bro just wanted to get back to his wife. Well, what did he have to do? He was forced to sleep with two goddesses. And then, poor Elpenor, my guy, getting drunk, falling off Circe's palace, dead. Rip him. Then obviously, he travels, obviously then from Circe's palace, travels towards the underworld, communes with the dead. We get to meet so many characters, and also meet and speak to so many characters. It's quite cool, you get to find out what happened to his mum while he was away. You get to meet Agamemnon, to Achilles. You get to see a couple of like old heroes. That was quite cool. And then obviously after leaving the underworld, obviously then they go up towards what was it? I think they go back to then they go back to Circe's palace, sorry. Because obviously they find out while they're at the underworld section, speaking to all the dead, that's when they find out about Elpenor. They go back, they find his body, they give him a burial mound, give him a good send off. Then obviously Circe then tells them what they need to do next. After Odysseus listens to the prophet Tiresias. Then obviously he goes up against Scylla and Charybdis, decides to go with Scylla because, well, that's the easiest route for most people, you just do what he did, sacrifice 6 men. And then, boom, off he goes through Scylla. And then obviously they come to the island of Cal, they stay there for, I think it was a month. Don't know why they didn't just fucking leave. Pretty stupid staying there for a month, but hey ho. Obviously, they stay there for a month. They run out of food. Damn, Eurylochus kills the cows. Then they get obviously brought down by Zeus. who's like, I ain't having this shit. And then obviously Odysseus gets trapped on Calypso's island, Ogypia, I think it's pronounced. Please let me know in the comments if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce that properly. And then obviously I think he's there for 7 years, and then eventually he gets freed, which obviously happens right at the beginning of the book, like I said. And it's quite funny, especially coming as someone who listened to Epic the musical before reading the Odyssey. You know, in Epic, obviously, you know, Athena has this big song moment where she has to convince the gods to release him. And in this, she's just like, release him. And then she's like, sure, okay, fine. Like, it's pissed Poseidon off, but hey-ho, he wasn't there at the convention of gods. So obviously he gets released from there. Then obviously, like I said, he goes to the Phoenicians, speaks to them, and then eventually gets to make his way home. Obviously, eventually lands obviously at Ithaca. Obviously gets disguised as an old beggar and sent to told to go to his old servant Eumaeus's hut. We get some really cool moments there, especially after Telemachus shows up. And obviously they get to reunite. That's a really cool moment. I was quite surprised that happened there. Actually, again, come from Epic. Obviously, their reunion does happen after the suitors are killed, but in this it's before. But yeah, and then obviously, you know, they plot for a little while, spend some time in the palace under the guise of Odysseus not being there still. And then eventually, you know, we get to the bit where it's time to deal with the suitors. And that was honestly one of my favourite moments in the entire book. Just seeing the way that Odysseus just methodically just takes them down, with obviously the help of Telemachus, Eumaeus, and what was another guy? Can't remember. I don't remember if they even said his name. I think he was was he a sheep herder? I think he was a sheep herder or something along those lines. He was another one of Odysseus' servants. The only other person that was actually told about Odysseus' return before obviously the reveal. And then obviously after the suitors are dealt with, obviously we finally get the moment between Odysseus and Penelope where 20 years of waiting finally comes to an end. You know, Penelope's obviously a bit unsure if it actually is him or not. She was obviously questioning it, and obviously she obviously throws that test at him about moving the bed that's obviously carved into the olive tree, which is such a beautiful symbol of their love. And then obviously they finally get that happy ending. And yeah, this just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it has to be a 10 out of 10. Like, there is no other rating you can give this book. It is one of the best things I have ever read. Probably one of my maybe top 3 favourite books I've probably personally read at the moment. But yeah, if you haven't read it, go read it. If you haven't read it in a while, go reread it. This would probably be one that I might reread every so often. Don't know how often. Maybe every couple of years I'll probably reread this. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, I'm going to be posting another review on John Gardner's Grendel. That will be up around the same time as this video, so go check that one out as well. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. If there's any sort of specific book recommendations you have. In my Grendel video, I'm probably going to include a screenshot or something of the rest of my books for this year, so you can sort of see a rough idea of what other reading review or book review, should I say, are coming throughout the rest of this year. But yeah, be sure to let me know what you think about the Odyssey. What are your favourite books? Let me know in the comments below. Who are your favourite authors? Let me know down below. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.